Hello, and welcome to the Divorced Dadvocate, divorce support for dads, where we help dads create a healthy and less traumatic divorce. My name is Jude Sandoval, and I'm your host. I created this podcast and the Divorced Advocate community as a result of my own high conflict divorce, and because you as a dad deserve all the resources necessary to thrive through this challenging time. I encourage you to check out our website at thedivorcedadvocate.com, where there are resources that correspond to this episode, as well as free access to our membership community, where you will find live meetings, free workshops and courses, private discussion groups, and more. And now, on to this week's episode. Hello, and welcome to the show. I am extremely grateful that you are here listening today. And if you have children, which you should have if you're listening to this podcast for dads, then today's show is going to be particularly interesting to you, I believe. And it stems out of over the last week having several conversations with dads that were struggling with disciplining their kids, particularly in the context of feeling like they're going to get accused falsely of overly disciplining or being authoritative or authoritarian instead of authoritative. And so I wanted to dive into this a little bit deeper for you, because I feel like this is something that is a big topic. But before we jump into it, let me just remind you that the divorce quiz is still up at thedivorcedadvocate.com. We've got a bunch of people that ran through it this week. It seems to be popular over the last 3 or 4 weeks for some reason, but it's a great tool for you to gauge where you're at in your divorce compared to others who have gone through it. It's going to take about 10 minutes and spit out some immediate results for you, and also give you the opportunity to connect with me to review those. So check it out at thedivorcedadvocate.com. Also want to welcome Ben, Chris, and Alex to the Divorced Advocate community. Welcome. If you're not part of the community yet, check it out at the website. Also under the membership tab, there are all kinds of fantastic things, including the expanded version of this podcast and each of the podcast episodes, as well as blog posts, group meetings, and some other things as well. So check that out, and I look forward to seeing you as a member. All right, let's talk about navigating discipline with love and logic. So obviously divorce brings some significant changes, and as a dad, navigating these changes of parenting post-divorce can be particularly daunting. And the way you choose to discipline your children plays a crucial role in their development, and understanding the difference between authoritative and authoritarian parenting styles is key. And this is one that is starting to get really thrown around a lot in the therapeutic world, as well as the investigative world, CFIs or PREs or whatever the investigations are in your area or neck of the woods are called, is this difference about authoritarian and authoritative parenting. And so let me define it specifically. If you listened to some earlier podcasts not long ago, I talked about the difference about this. And then I have also followed that up with a podcast about parenting with love and logic. But I wanted to bring those two together on this one, because I think the love and logic is a positive, and we'll go through this in a second. But let's quickly define the difference. Authoritative parenting, characterized by setting clear expectations and boundaries while fostering open communication and empathy, can be particularly effective in post-divorce situations. In contrast, authoritarian parenting relies on strict rules and harsh consequences, often lacking the warmth and understanding necessary for a child to navigate the complexities of divorce. And so why is this important? I'm going to back up, like I have the last couple of podcasts, with some statistics, back up what I am telling you with some statistics as to why it is unbelievably important for you to be involved in your kiddo's life, and in particular in this circumstance, involved in disciplining in your child's lives, because there is no better indicator of your children's success than your involvement in their life. And research consistently highlights the benefits of active fathers. According to a study by the U.S. Department of Education, children with involved fathers are 43% more likely to earn A's in school and are more likely to enjoy school and engage in extracurricular activities. That's just one of them, okay? So what we're going to talk about in more further detail now is practical ways you can discipline your children authoritatively use. I'm going to stumble over that word this entire podcast, so I just apologize up front. It tangles my tongue for whatever reason. But we're going to talk about ways you can discipline your children authoritatively using the principles of love and logic. Now, the love and logic philosophy approach emphasizes setting clear boundaries with empathy and love, allowing children to learn from their mistakes, in contrast to the harsh and rigid authoritarian style. So let's dive into this. I think you're going to like it. I will direct you to the Love and Logic. If you just Google Love and Logic Parenting, you'll be able to check out their website. They've got all kinds of on-demand videos. They've got videos that are classes that you can subscribe to. They have local practitioners that will teach you classes. I go about every other year just to brush up, and they break it down by different levels of parenting, adolescents, teens, etc. And it is really a fantastic way in which you can parent. It's a guidebook, basically, which we don't get when they're born. So it's a guidebook to how you can effectively parent your kiddos. So the first one is setting clear expectations. So in Love and Logic Parenting, and this aligns with authoritative parenting, it encourages setting clear expectations by communicating rules and consequences to your children, but doing it in a calm and collected manner. And what this does is it'll foster a sense of structure from your kids without resorting to the authoritarian tactics. And then an example is just setting that expectation. Maybe in our house, we all agree to be, this would be perhaps if, hopefully you're setting this up front, but if a kid breaks a curfew, you say something like, in our house, we all agree to be home by a certain time. When that doesn't happen, the consequence is X, whatever it might be. So when I am with my daughters and we sit down and we'll talk about specifically what the expectations are. And so this is another one that we don't hear, I don't feel enough in our society, is setting clear expectations with our children. It seems like that just, I don't know how to describe it, but that there are not expectations, or they don't feel like they should have expectations, or they're not expectations in school. I'm not exactly sure, but I know that if you set expectations, they're going to rise to those expectations. So if you don't have expectations, they have nothing to work towards. So unless you're creating these clear expectations around what it is that you want, or how they should be acting in the household, how they should be acting with strangers, how they should be conducting their life at school, how they should be communicating, what they should be doing or not doing on their phones, all that stuff. And guys, listen, I recognize that it is absolutely exhausting, but if we're not setting those expectations, it's almost like we don't give them the rules to the game and expect them to play. So if we set the expectations, but we do it in a nice manner, then this is where they're going to start to rise to what those expectations are. And so let me back this up with why this is important. Is active father involvement has been linked to higher academic achievement, improved social skills, and a lower likelihood of delinquent behavior in children. So by actively participating in setting and enforcing expectations, we play a crucial role in providing the structure that contributes to these positive outcomes. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm saying, which is set those expectations, and they're going to live up to those expectations. And then we're going to talk about this a little bit later on. And when they don't, that's actually a good thing, because it helps them to realign. It helps you to guide them and teach them how to reach those expectations. Number 2, offer choices. Unlike authoritarian parenting, which tends to dictate rules without flexibility, love and logic parenting provides children with choices, allowing them to take responsibility for their decisions. This approach empowers them and encourages thoughtful decision making. So this is beautiful, because what happens is when you move away from the authoritarian, punitive type mindset, and you move towards this setting clear expectations, giving them the choices of what they can do, then when they don't live up to those expectations and they make a poor choice, they're not mad at you. They're mad at themselves. They are empowered because they have all of these choices. If they made a poor choice, then it turns back on them. The focus turns back on themselves. Whereas when we're authoritarian, they get angry at us because we're maybe doling out a punishment, or hopefully we're not, but we're lecturing them. That happens all the time, right? I don't know about you, but my parents were ones that were lecturing, like telling me everything that I needed to do or not do or wasn't doing, etc. And I don't know about you also, how many of us think that we learn or have learned the most by somebody just lecturing us? I remember, I'm not even getting into stories, but it just doesn't work. So giving them the choices, helping them to see that there's good and bad choices by guiding them through those, then takes you out of the middle of it, takes their focus away from being mad at you, and helps them to look at and internalize what it is that they're doing. So, for instance, if your child refuses to do homework, you could say something like, you can choose to do your homework now and enjoy your free time later, or you can choose not to do it and face the consequences later. It's up to you. And this can start, and I'm not going to get into the real specific ways in which you can implement this, but if you go to Love and Logic websites and watch some of their classes, they'll go through some specific examples, and you can start this as young as 1 or 2 years old, because you're just giving them choices and helping them to learn that life is a series of choices every single day, every minute of the day. From how we think to the actions that we take are a series of choices. So the sooner that they learn this, the better, and they can start doing that when they're little. So check it out. What I want to share as to why this is important is research from the National Fatherhood Initiative indicates that children with involved fathers are, get this, 98%, almost 100% more likely to graduate from high school. So offering choices within the framework of love and logic not only builds decision-making skills, but also contributes to a sense of autonomy and responsibility that supports academic success. So it's an awesome, awesome thing to teach choices. I can't, I don't know about you, but I can't tell you the number of adults that are my age that still do not understand that their choices have consequences or don't want to be accountable for their choices. So let's stem that problem right now with our kiddos. Number 3, use empathy. This is the big one, and I'll just be upfront for me, this is the one that is the most challenging. They have different types. They talk about different types of parents, helicopter parents, drill sergeant parents, like laissez-faire parents. And I'm like the drill sergeant parent. So as you can imagine, a drill sergeant does not have a ton of empathy. And so, but the love and logic, the hallmark of the authoritative parenting is empathy. So when your child makes a poor choice, the choices that we just talked about, and we're helping or giving them and helping them to figure out, express understanding before delivering the consequences. Let them know you comprehend their perspective, you understand their feelings, and this is going to help you foster a connection that goes beyond the rigidity of authoritarianism, which is basically, I told you so, or if you would have lecturing, if you would have done this, you would have done much better. one of the things that they say in logic that I thought was hilarious, and it was the first class that I ever took, is we give our dogs more credit for figuring things out than we do our kids. Like, we don't lecture our dogs over and over and over again about stuff. We expect them to learn and obey and then do whatever it is that we're asking them to do. But we don't expect that or do that with our kids. We just don't give them enough credit. They can figure this out. So that's the key in making sure to be able to get that connection, help them to understand that you're more of a guide, if you will, in this process rather than the authoritarian who's telling them what to do. Again, if it takes the focus off of you, it takes the focus away from what you're doing or what you're saying. And if you can use these steps, I'm telling you, they're absolutely golden. And I'm telling you also that after, let's see, we started this probably when my oldest was maybe 3 or 4. So after doing this for 15 years, I still am nowhere close to mastering this. But every year I get a little bit better. And maybe by the time I have grandkids, I'll be really a master at it. Anyway, but just know it takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of effort, and that's okay. You're going to make mistakes. So,
stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Jude with a quick reminder about the Divorced Advocate Foundation for Fathers, which is our nonprofit that helps dads through divorce with legal education, free or reduced cost coaching, and mental health resources. If you own a business or know someone who does, there's an easy way to help by connecting credit card processing through our partner program. Part of the fees go straight to the foundation with no added cost to the business, and 98% of businesses are actually able to save money on their processing fees. It's a win-win. So if you know a business that accepts credit cards, get them in touch with me by sending a warm introduction email to jude@thedivorcedadvocate.com or give me a call directly at 720-255-1021. Let me give you an example of using empathy. And if perhaps your child forgets to do or neglects to do, because they never forget, right? Neglects to do their chores, you could say something like, I understand that you're busy, but we all have responsibilities in this house. How do you think we can solve this issue together? So something like that. There's, again, all kinds of, I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty, but there's all kinds of examples on the Love and Logic website and all the classes. If you take a class, one of the coolest things is that you're sharing these ideas with each other about what you have seen that's worked with your kids. One of the cool things also on our group calls within the community here in our get-togethers is we talk about this thing as dads too, particularly some of us that are a little bit old, have a little bit older kids and teens, and that was the genesis of this podcast this week. Was I met with one of the other guys too that has some teen kids, and we were talking about this too, and he felt pretty hopeless to be able to met out some discipline, if you will, without having some accusations and repercussions around what would just be normal discipline, which is really sad statement on where we're at in the court system, the family law system, just how it is all set up around dads and the importance of dads providing structure and discipline to the kids' lives. But that is a different podcast. Next one, number 4, apply natural consequences. And so this is the one that is absolutely beautiful because they have made the choices. You've offered them the choices, and it's based upon your expectations. And they've come up. They've maybe failed what you want them to do, particularly when they're younger, because these failures and these mistakes are much less expensive than mistakes in our adult life. That could be bankruptcy or divorce or something that might be worse with a poor choice. So applying natural consequences, and Love and Logic emphasizes the kids experiencing these natural consequences whenever possible. And that's a departure from authoritarian parenting, which might focus more on the punitive measures. So a good example of this one, and my my daughters hate this one, but we were just talking about it last week, actually, now I'm thinking about it. If your child forgets their lunch, resist the urge to rescue them. Instead, let them experience hunger and discuss how they can avoid it next time, right? So no kid's going to die if he or she does not have lunch one time during the day of the school year. But I can guarantee you those hunger pains are going to be in their mind the next morning when they have to grab their lunch. And so my daughters almost joke because the schools force them to call the parents, which is absolutely ludicrous that they should do that. They should be implementing this love and logic parenting mindset to help them to understand. So they did no favors, but my daughters would almost absolutely just be like, well, it's pointless because my dad's not going to show up, or I would have a choice for them. It would cost them to have me interrupt my workday, and that was based upon what my salary was and how much I would be making for that hour to go get their lunch and then bring it over to them to come back. And as you can imagine, as young kids, they did not have the financial means to be paying that hour of my salary to bring them their lunch. So they would figure out some other way to resolve their poor choice. And so that's an example of applying natural consequences. It's absolutely beautiful. If we really think about it, some of the best lessons that each one of us has learned in life were based upon natural consequences. So let it happen. We get, you might get the accusations from your ex, especially if they're looking for something that you're mean, that you're cruel. And this was part of my conversation with one of the guys in our group this week, is he was just gun shy and scared to death. And let me tell you, I've had them. I'm going to knock on wood. I'm not going to say I've had them all, but I've had a lot of them thrown at me. And unfortunately, it's not in the best interest of the kids if your ex is not working with you collaboratively, but is only looking at ways to undermine you or hurt you or try to make you look bad and anything else. That is a clear sign that there's something wrong with your ex. If they're not collaborating, if they're not talking to you about what happened, if they're not trying to understand the situation, and hopefully working with you in order to help the kiddos learn from the circumstance. So just stay strong with that, because that's hard. And applying these natural consequences and letting them happen doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you quote unquote strict. It just allows you to help them to learn what they're going to learn when they're away from you, which is natural consequences will happen based upon your choices. So let me support this. Research published in the Journal of Marriage and Family underscores the positive impact of father involvement on children's cognitive development. Allowing natural consequences within a loving and logical framework not only teaches valuable life lessons, but also contributes to cognitive growth. So that's going to help, that is going to help them for sure. See, here's the thing that is making me crazy, that is bothering me with like this conversation that I had this week, is the positive benefits that fathers bring by doing something like this, by bringing the cognitive development that a child experiences, is because that is one of the things that fathers bring to the table. That is one of the things that fathers bring to the dynamic of parenting. Now, mothers bring a whole set of different things to parenting. Fathers bring a different one. And what is happening is what we bring and what we're providing that is beneficial is getting diminished and even demeaned to the point where then there's accusations. So it's almost, and I'm not going to get into specific detail, but I say that to let you know to stick to your guns, to stay strong, and being an authoritative disciplinarian using these love and logic principles are going to make a difference. It's going to take a great effort on your part, but we are parenting in order to have healthy and functioning adults. We're not parenting to just get to next week, or be our kids' best friends, or to win a popularity contest, or be better, have them like us better than our ex, etc. Our goal is to parent them to be healthy and functioning adults. So by being a good father, by being involved in their life, and by being an authoritative, love and logic father, you can provide that to them. Okay, next one is delay consequences. Now, this one is absolutely beautiful, particularly for the older kids. Rather than immediately delivering consequences in an authoritarian style, like I said, I was a drill sergeant, right? Think of a drill sergeant. Oh, screaming right away and telling them. Love and logic suggests delaying the consequences. So what this does is it provides both you and your child with time to cool off and reflect, promoting a more thoughtful and constructive approach to discipline. So it does that. Additionally, it helps them to take time to really think about things. And a great one that they suggest using is pointing out what it is that they did and saying something to the effect that I make much better decisions when I'm calm. So we're going to have to deal with this later, or we're going to have to talk about this later. Try not to worry about it, which is a great one because they know that they're in trouble because you pointed out the poor choice that they've made. But you're not going to do anything about it right then because it could be a myriad of reasons. One, you might need to strategize around it and figure out what you're going to do. You might need to calm down, or you might just need to, it might not be an appropriate place to be dealing with it. So saying that the try not to worry about it thing really allows them to take back ownership and think about what it is that they did. So let's support this with some more facts to help you feel strong in delaying the consequences. Studies from the American Academy of Pediatrics emphasize the importance of positive discipline strategies that promote a child's self-esteem. Delaying consequences within the love and logic framework allows for a more measured response, fostering this positive and supportive environment. Okay. And then the last one, this is going to apply for some of you. Some others of you, like myself, this is not going to apply just because I am parallel parenting and not co-parenting. But if possible, coordinate with your ex-spouse to maintain consistent discipline across both households. Consistency is a hallmark of authoritative parenting. So you can't be an effective, authoritative parent if you're not consistent. You can't do it one time and not another time, and not another time. You have to do it consistently, and this provides children with a sense of security. But it also reinforces the rules established by both parents, hopefully. But if not, at least your rules in your house. And so we'll support this with some evidence, and it's research from the National Institutes of Health indicates that consistent and involved fathering is associated with fewer behavioral problems in children. So by both of you maintaining a united front and discipline, you can contribute to the stability and the well-being of their children. Even if you are not maintaining a united front, this still applies to you. As long as you are consistent, in your environment, and you continue with this, that is absolutely critical. So disciplining children as a divorcing dad is most definitely challenging, my friends. But understanding this difference between authoritative and authoritarian parenting is crucial. Love and logic parenting principles aligned with the authoritative approach offer a compassionate and effective way to navigate discipline post-divorce. So by setting clear expectations, offering choices, using empathy, applying natural consequences, delaying consequences, and maintaining consistency, you can discipline your children authoritatively while fostering a loving and logical environment. And research consistently underscores the importance of active father involvement, and the positive impact of providing structure in a child's life. Let me say that again. Research consistently underscores the importance of active father involvement, and this is the point I really want to emphasize, and the positive impact of providing structure in a child's life. Yes, structure is important in their lives. Fathers provide structure. Fathers are important in their lives. So by actively participating in setting and enforcing these expectations, offering choices, using empathy, allowing natural consequences, delaying consequences, maintaining consistency, us divorced dads play a vital role in promoting our children's academic success, emotional intelligence, cognitive development, and overall well-being. These are all the benefits: academic success, emotional intelligence, cognitive development, and overall well-being. So remember, the key is to guide your children with empathy and understanding, allowing them to learn and grow through their experiences, both during and after the challenge of divorce. I know that you can do this. I know that you may be struggling to figure this out as you traverse this as a single father, a single dad, with all of the other stuff that is going on and the changes that are happening in your life. This is one that I will highly recommend going to the Love and Logic parenting website and checking out, so that you can get a structure and a framework around how you can discipline kids, but on a more general thought process of parenting. It's a parenting style. So check it out. It's just gonna help you kind of refine one of those things that may be a little bit chaotic in your life right now. I hope you found some value in this topic today, our discipline, or navigating discipline with love and logic. I'd love to hear your comments. If you're listening on a podcast platform, please leave one for us or leave a star rating. Share this far and wide with everybody that you know, or a divorced dad, or a divorcing dad, or a dad contemplating divorce. And let's get the word out there to everybody and get them the support that they need. Thank you so much for listening this week. Have a fantastic week, and God bless. To hear the rest of this episode and access the corresponding resources, visit thedivorcedadvocate.com and become a member of our community. It's free to join and will provide you with the resources you deserve as a divorced or divorcing dad. Thank you for listening. God bless, and I'll talk with you next week.